You were never meant to be just a person. You were meant to be a myth. A person gets questioned, doubted, dismissed. But a myth. A myth gets repeated, whispered, worshipped. And the greatest tragedy of modern life is this: too many powerful souls waste time trying to be understood instead of becoming unforgettable. Look around. The world doesn't reward truth. It rewards perception. And perception isn't built through facts, but through feeling. That's where your power begins, not in proving who you are, but in withholding just enough to make the world hungry, to figure you out, and failing. Machiavelli didn't write for the masses to like him. He wrote to be feared. He wrote to last. You must make the same decision. Will you be seen as just another name in the crowd? Or will your presence echo like a riddle no one can solve? Because from this moment forward, you are no longer a person. You are a legend under construction. And every rumor, every silence, every appearance must serve that design. Let the myth begin. Being understood is a trap. It sounds comforting, even noble, the idea that someone out there truly gets you. That if you could just explain yourself enough, if you could just speak clearly, people would finally see the real you. But Machiavelli would call that a fatal weakness. Because once they understand you, they place limits on you. They stop imagining. They stop fearing. They stop projecting. And without projection, you lose power. The truth: people don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they can't. Mystery is magnetic. It invites interpretation, fascination, and myth-making. That's why legends like Da Vinci, Elon Musk, and yes, even Machiavelli himself command such attention. It's not just what they did, it's what they didn't say. It's the blank spaces in their persona that allowed the world to fill in the rest with awe, fear, or fantasy. When you try to be understood, you give people the blueprints to dismantle you and you. They know your logic, your motives, your wounds. They can explain you away. But when you live in the gray, when you become suggestion rather than statement, you become impossible to categorize. And that's where the real power begins. Your silence will confuse some, frustrate others, but it will haunt all of them. Because they will talk about you even when you're gone. They will argue over what you meant, what you really are, and why they can't stop thinking about you. So stop giving them clarity. Start giving them contrast. Show them just enough to feed the fire and withhold enough to make it burn endlessly. You were never meant to be a product of explanation. You were meant to be a symbol, a myth in motion. And myths aren't understood. They're imagined. They're remembered. Not all weapons are visible. And not all power is loud. The strongest men in any room are not the ones who speak the most, but the ones whose silence makes others adjust their tone. That's not an accident. That's not luck. That's a man who has identified his invisible weapons and sharpened them with intent. You must do the same. Ask yourself, what makes you unforgettable even when you say nothing? Maybe it's a gaze that doesn't flinch. Maybe it's a skill so rare people talk about you when you're not in the room. Maybe it's your scars, the ones you've never explained. Maybe it's a past so dark no one dares to ask. Maybe it's the way you disappear, just when they start to feel attached. These are not weaknesses. These are strategic assets. Machiavelli would tell you power lies not in what you reveal, but in what you hold. People chase what they can't fully grasp. They obsess over the gaps. They build myths around your absences. So don't show everything. Don't explain everything. Refine what is rare in you, and then guard it like a secret weapon. Because in a world addicted to oversharing, mystery is currency. Restraint is dominance. And your invisible power is the only kind they can't steal. Power is not in what you say. It's in what you don't. The mistake of the ordinary man is thinking more words mean more understanding. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. In the game of perception, the goal is not to explain, it's to provoke imagination. To say, just enough, and let their mind burn with the rest. Because curiosity is a louder drum than truth. Post a photo in a powerful place, but leave it captionless. Mention a mentor but never give a name. Tell a story, then go silent just before the climax. That silence will scream louder than any confession ever could. Why? Because people cannot stand unfinished pictures. Their minds rush to fill in the blanks. And whatever they imagine will always be bigger, deeper, and more dangerous than anything you could have said. This is your weapon strategic suggestion. You don't need to lie. You don't need to fabricate. You just need to withhold intentionally, calmly, and with purpose. The world is overflowing with noise. Everyone is shouting, oversharing, explaining themselves into irrelevance. But you will be different. You will reveal only what feeds the fire. You will let your mystery do the talking, and you will master the art of making silence feel like presence. Because curiosity isn't just emotion, it's leverage, and you are the question they'll never answer. The moment they misunderstand you, smile. Because now they're doing your work for you. Every rumor they spread, every twisted version of your name that's free marketing, that's psychological real estate, and only the weak waste energy correcting it. Machiavelli would tell you, never chase the truth. Let perception become your sword. When they say you're too cold, let them. Too strategic. Let them. Hard to read. Perfect. You've already won. Why? Because people fear what they cannot define, and in that fear they start whispering. They build versions of you more powerful, more mysterious, more dangerous than you actually are. And you never have to say a word. This is not lying. This is discipline. You're not manipulating the story. You're simply refusing to kill the myth. Do not explain. Do not clarify. Do not chase approval. Wear the rumor like a cloak and let it cast a longer shadow than the truth ever could. Because every time you defend yourself, you shrink. But every time you let them wonder, you grow into something untouchable. Let the rumor spread. Let it echo. And as they try to define you, you become legend. If the world is going to turn you into a story, you might as well write the script. Every legend is built on a persona, and every persona is a weapon if chosen with precision. You are not meant to be everything to everyone. You are meant to become a symbol, a living archetype that others cannot forget, cannot decode, cannot stop watching. So choose your mask and wear it like armor. Be the silent king. Few words, no apologies, absolute control. Be the cursed genius. Brilliant but haunted, always 2 steps ahead, never fully known. Be the phantom, impossible to track, unforgettable when seen, then gone before they can touch you. Or be the fallen noble, once powerful, now exiled, carrying the weight of a past no one dares ask about. Each archetype awakens something ancient in people, awe, fear, obsession. You are no longer just you. You are a narrative that bends perception. And every appearance must feed that myth. Every silence must thicken your aura. Every word must echo like it was meant to be remembered. This is not performance. This is strategy. Machiavelli knew the man who controls his image controls his fate. So don't leave your identity to chance. Shape it, sharpen it, amplify it. Because when your presence becomes a symbol, you no longer walk into a room. You arrive like prophecy. In a world where everyone is always visible, the rarest power is absence. Because when you're always present, you're taken for granted. But when you disappear intentionally, strategically, your silence becomes a presence louder than words. And when you return, it must feel like an event. This is the law of scarcity. The more available you are, the less you matter. But the one who withholds, the one who vanishes without explanation, then returns with force. That's the one people watch. So don't post every day. Post when it matters and let the silence before it sharpen their hunger. Don't explain yourself constantly. Speak when your words cut through the noise like prophecy. Don't show up to be seen. Show up to change the temperature of the room. A single sentence after weeks of silence can shake more minds than 100 loud declarations. A photo without caption can stir more whispers than any explanation. A look delivered at the precise moment your rivals unravel can turn confusion into submission. You are not part of the feed. You are the interruption, the event, the signal that the atmosphere has shifted. Machiavelli would remind you, power is not in motion. It's in timing, appear rarely. But when you do, make them remember it like a myth. Because true dominance doesn't shout. It arrives, and everything else becomes quiet. The strongest presence in any room isn't the one with all the answers. It's the one who raises the most questions and refuses to answer any of them. Mystery is not weakness, it is power sharpened into silence. Because the moment people believe they've figured you out, you become small, contained, predictable. But when you live in suggestion, when your every action hints at something deeper, something dangerous, you rise above the crowd. You become ungraspable. Why do you dress like that? Why don't you speak more? Who are you really connected to? What are you hiding? Good. Let them ask. Because their questions build your myth faster than your words ever could. Machiavelli understood people fear what they can't categorize. And fear is a faster path to respect than approval will ever be. So resist the urge to clarify. Don't fill in the blanks, let the blanks echo. You are not here to make people comfortable. You are here to disrupt their certainty, to live in their mind as a presence they can't quite define and can't quite forget. Because once they stop asking questions about you, they stop caring. But if you stay one step beyond definition, you'll live not in memory, but in obsession. Be the question they never answer, and you'll become the name they never forget. Every time you explain yourself, you give away power. Every defense, every clarification, it tells the world you're uncertain. It shows you're trying to be liked instead of feared, and Machiavelli would tell you that is fatal. In the game of power, explanation is a form of begging. Defending your name invites the illusion that others have authority over it. But when you refuse to clarify, you remain untouchable. You become a myth, not a man. Let them misunderstand you. Let them twist your words. Let them argue about your motives. Because while they're busy chasing the shadow of your meaning, you've already moved on ahead, deeper above. This is the paradox. The less you react, the more they obsess. The less you speak, the more they listen. The less you justify, the more they believe you're beyond reach. So train yourself in the discipline of silence. No matter how loud the noise becomes, do not engage. Because every time you stay silent, you rise. And every time you justify, you descend. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be remembered. And no legend was ever built through explanations. The truth is simple. He who never explains never bows. And that is the posture of power. You are not here to play by the rules of the visible. You are here to operate in the shadows of perception, to turn rumor into weapon silence, into dominance and mystery, into your personal empire. The weak chase clarity. The powerful create confusion. And from that confusion, they rise. You are no longer just a man. You are an image, a force, a question no one can answer. Your presence is calculated. Your absence strategic. You don't speak to be heard. You move to be felt. Let them guess. Let them whisper. Let them fear. Because while others waste their life proving themselves, you are becoming unexplainable. And in that space, you are untouchable. This is your blueprint. Become the myth. Guard the silence. Feed the fire. And if this message woke something inside you, don't let it die in silence. Leave your mark below. Comment how you will reclaim your image. Save this message and return to it when the world tries to make you explain yourself. And subscribe not for entertainment, but to build your mind into something no one can define. Because legends are not born. They are built in silence, in shadows, in strategy. And your time begins now.